यहाँ से मुझे करना पड़ेगा।
So, hello everyone. How are you all today? Hope everything is going good. So, hello everyone. How are you all today? Mute these things. Huh. Okay. So, welcome to this live session where we are going to talk about the upcoming lunar eclipse. So, is everyone aware that tomorrow is a huge, it's a big celestial event tomorrow? So, does someone knows the complete name of the celestial event that is going to happen tomorrow? Tell me in the chat box. So you can tell me what celestial event is coming tomorrow. So till then, I'll just share the screen. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I hope the screen is visible now. Randeep sir, is the screen visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
All right. Okay, so tomorrow it's a very special celestial event, which is total lunar eclipse, which is special also because it will be visible across India. So it will start from 8:58 p.m. in the night for tomorrow, and it will go till 2:25 a.m. Okay, so this lunar eclipse, I hope that everyone, is excited about that the moon is going to be eclipsed by our Earth. So let's understand about that, what this eclipse is about, how can we look at it, what all things can we learn from it. Okay, so let's look at this eclipse or the lunar eclipse of cosmic hide and seek. Okay, so whenever it comes to eclipses, there are many myths or you can say questions that come along with it, right? So, do you guys also have any questions that it's related to eclipses? Like some of the questions that I have very frequently heard is that have you ever seen an eclipse like in front of you, and do humans get affected by these eclipses? Can eclipse be seen from everywhere at the same time? And two eclipses happen on other planets also. So you can just tell your answers in the chat box about what you think about these questions, if you have ever seen an eclipse or not. And do you think the humans do get affected by these eclipses? Okay. So yeah, you can type your answers in the chat box. Okay. And Randeep sir will be answering them also. Okay. So let's go ahead and understand about the mechanics of what these eclipses are about. Primarily, the lunar eclipse that is about to happen tomorrow. So these lunar eclipse and mostly these eclipses always have a story or ancient myth related to it, because if you look at the eclipse when it is happening, it is always, though those celestial objects were always uh, okay. So someone is asking that how many eclipses happen in a year or a decade. We'll come to that, that how many eclipses can happen, and why doesn't it happen more frequently. Okay, says all of these celestial objects like the sun, the moon, these were always connected to gods, right? And whenever these were going in an ecliptic mode, they were always related to that someone or something is eating it up. So it was always connected to some demons, in ancient Indian traditions, those demons are called as Rahu and Ketu. So, have you guys ever heard about these demons who are Rahu and Ketu? You can tell in the chat box also. Okay, so because their gods were getting eaten up, and because of some reason they were not able to understand the geometry that was behind it. That why was the sun in in the middle of the day the sun was getting vanished. During a full moon night, the moon was getting vanished, or it was getting red in color. How was all these things happening? So because they were not able to understand what was the proper geometry behind the celestial objects, they just made up myths around it, that there would be some demon who is eating the sun up, right? But today, as we know, that this is not exactly the case. What actually happens is, it is just a play of shadows, right? So how does shadow helps us in looking at the eclipse? So let's understand what this shadow play is all about. So if you guys have any circular object with you, you can just do this experiment right now also at your home. Just place a circular object. You can take any ball, or any circular object, and just flash a flashlight in front of it. Just shine a flashlight in front of it. You will see that there will be two shadowy regions for this object. One region of the shadow will be a darker color, it will be of a darker shade, and around it there will be lighter shadow region. So how is it that the same object is making multiple shadows, and the light object, the light source also single only? So how is it that this object is making multiple shadows? It all happens because of the geometry of the how the light is traveling around the object. So some of the light is traveling, directly in front of it, that is making the darker region of the shadow, which is called as then umbra. And the lighter regions of the shadow are called as penumbra. Okay, which is all around the umbra region. So this object, if you move it also front and back, you will see that the umbra and penumbra regions expand or contract according to where you move it, right? So you can do this experiment right now also, or afterwards also, and you will find out that these umbra and penumbra regions do exist, and is actually the reason of why the eclipse also happens. So the same thing happens in the solar system also, with the sun, the earth, and the moon. So as soon as the sun's light falls upon Earth, it also forms this umbra and penumbra regions. Even the moon forms the same umbra and penumbra regions. So in this animation, you can see that as soon as the moon is starting to come in between the sun and the earth, it has started to block the sun's light. So on the bottom right hand corner, you can see that the image of the sun from earth, how it is getting blocked by the moon, right? And as soon as the moon lines perfectly with the sun and the earth, it will form this solar eclipse. This is what the solar eclipse is. The moon completely covers the light coming from the sun. The umbra region of the moon is falling directly on the earth, right? And this almost the same thing happens with the lunar eclipse also. So for the lunar eclipse, the moon is revolving around the earth in every 27 days. So as soon as it starts revolving around the earth again, it comes in the shadowy region of the earth also. And as soon as it comes in the shadowy region of earth, you can see that on the bottom right hand corner, where there are two images, the moon from earth, the moon has started getting a shadow on its surface, right? And on the upper part also, you can see that it is inside the penumbral region. So as soon as it goes further inside the shadowy region, you will see that now it is getting completely covered with the darker region of the shadow of earth, which is the umbra region. And now you can see that the moon is completely covered with the shadow of earth. This is what is called as the lunar eclipse. And the moon will again start to revolve around the earth. It keeps on revolving around the earth, as everyone would know about it, right? So this is what actually happens when the solar and the lunar eclipse occurs. So now I hope everyone probably understood what is the main distinction between a solar and a lunar eclipse also, and why does it look so different, because of the play of the shadows, the umbra and the penumbra regions, right? The question here is, right, how many types of eclipses can happen then? So for the lunar eclipse, three different types of eclipses can happen. First is this penumbral lunar eclipse, where the moon is in the penumbral region of the Earth's shadow. It never crosses the umbral region. It is only in the penumbral region. So it is not completely covered in the darker shadows, but is still eclipsed out. Right? So this type of lunar eclipse is called as penumbral lunar eclipse. Second one is called as the partial lunar eclipse. What the partial lunar eclipse is about? When the moon is halfway between the umbral region and the penumbral region. That type of eclipse is called as the partial lunar eclipse. And whenever the moon is completely inside the umbral region of the Earth's shadow, that is called as a total lunar eclipse. Okay? This type of eclipse happens, it is going to happen to us also. This is what is going to happen. So question is that if this is all it takes for the moon to get eclipse or the sun to get eclipse, that it is revolving around the earth, why doesn't it happen every month? So to answer that question also, that how many times an eclipse can happen, first let's understand what is the geometry behind it. If the moon is revolving around the earth, it should come in 27 days only. It should come in between the earth and the sun and do the solar eclipse. Then again, while revolving around the earth, it should go behind the earth's shadow and it should form a lunar eclipse. But that doesn't happen every month. You don't listen that every month there are two eclipses, right? Let's understand why exactly does that happen. So when the moon is going around the earth, it is not going in a straight orbit. The orbit of the moon, if we, these are the videos or the animations we usually see of the moon. But if we just change our perspective a little bit and see it from this sideways, we will see that the moon's orbit is a little tilted from the plane of axis. This tilt is around 5 degrees. And because of this tilt here, you can see that the moon does not always falls under the shadow of the earth. And it is actually very rare that when the moon does fall under the shadow of the earth. So whenever the moon will fall under the shadow, that will be the lunar eclipse. And the same goes for the solar eclipse also. So sometimes the shadow of the earth is the shadow is too high above the earth, or sometimes the shadow is just too low below the earth. And it does happen rarely that the shadow is aligned directly in front of the earth, just like this. So that is why the solar and the lunar eclipse do happen rarely. And how many times it can happen, it will all depend upon this geometry. So once we understand this geometry, we can even predict the future eclipses also in the same way, right? So, oh, just a second. So very rarely when the moon does eclipse out, the in the total when the total lunar eclipse happen, this is how the moon looks like. So here you can see that the moon started to look a little red in color, right? Why did it become red in color? So like what does the shadow has to do with the changing of the color of the moon? Right. So does someone knows the answer to this? How and why does the moon change its color also? So you can tell that also in the chat box, that how exactly does the moon start to change its color. So let's see this one more time. So you can see the shadow of the earth came inside and it became red in color, and the shadow again left, right? So let's understand what is the phenomena behind this color changing of the moon, which is also called as the blood moon effect. So what exactly happens with the blood moon effect? So whenever the sun is passing in front of, when the earth is passing in front of the sun, the light from its atmosphere gets scattered out. So the atmosphere actually starts to act like a prism, and it separates the white light of the sun into 7 colors. And this is what happens this is the reason of why the moon starts to look red in color, because as soon as the earth comes in between the moon and the sun, all the light from its atmosphere, earth's atmosphere, it starts to fall upon the moon's surface. And because the red color is the color that is coming on the moon's surface because of the scattering effect, that is the color that we see from Earth. This is the reason why the moon becomes red in color. It's all because of the scattering of light from the atmosphere of Earth only, right? So no Rahu, no Ketu is responsible for eating the sun up and making it red in color. This is the actual geometry, and this is the physics behind it of why and how it becomes, it changes its color also, right? So this is what it will actually look like, right? So it will totally become red in color, and this is the proper total lunar eclipse. So Geetika is asking that because of sun's rays changing the wavelength into red. Yes, correct. Okay. So just again. Oh, so this was the complete science, the complete geometry behind what and how the eclipses happen. So what exactly is going to happen tomorrow? So tomorrow, as we discussed in the starting also, is a total lunar eclipse, right? And now, as we all know, that when this what's going to happen tomorrow, the moon is going to come in the shadowy region of the earth, and that too in the darkest shadow region, which is the umbral region of the earth, right? And when you will look at the moon from the earth, this is how it will look like. That first it will get covered by the penumbral shadowy region of the earth, and then slowly the main umbral region will also start covering the moon up, and it will start to become red in color. And this complete eclipse is going to happen for a long time, right? And this is actually the longest of the total lunar eclipse is going to happen, right? So here you can see that the earth's umbral shadow is now leaving the moon, and slowly the as the moon is revolving around the earth, slowly it will come out from the shadow, and it will get bright again. So this will be the full moon night. And remember guys that this can only happen only on a full moon night. Does someone knows why can it only happen in a full moon or a new moon night? That so I'll just give you a few seconds also to type your answer in. That the lunar eclipse can only happen during a full moon night, and the solar eclipse can only happen during a new moon night. Why? Because I'll just give you a few seconds. So Richa is also telling that because the light reflects off the Earth's atmosphere and its wavelength changes. Yes, Richa, correct. Okay. So as we were looking at the diagram of how the moon is revolving around the Earth, when the moon comes behind the Earth's shadow, that is the region when the moon is completely illuminated by the sun's light. And when the moon is completely illuminated by the sun's light, that we call as the full moon night, right? And when it goes around the earth again to come in between the earth and the sun, that is the point when the moon's backside will be visible to us, and that is the shadowy region, which we call as the new moon, right? So a eclipse can happen only during a full moon and a new moon night, right? So this is just a play of geometry of how all the objects are revolving around each other, how the shadows are forming. So just optics, geometry, it's just that, right? So this is a software which is called as Sterilium. This is a very useful software because through the software you can look at what is going to happen tomorrow from our laptop only. So let's choose our location as, let's say, Delhi. Okay, so in this software, I will just choose the location as Delhi, and now change the you know the date and time to tomorrow's date and time, so that we can look up of what is exactly going to happen. So in this software, so you guys can also just go to sterilium.web on your browsers also, and look at it with me only. So here on the bottom right hand corner, it is to there is the option to change the date and time. So here I've chosen as 7 November 2025, and now I'm changing the time over here. So that as we discussed, that the eclipse is will start around 9 p.m. Right? So I'll change the time to around 9 p.m. only. And from here, I can look at that from Delhi's viewpoint, how the moon is going to look like. So I'll just, zoom in into the moon a little, go closer, and we'll see how the shadow of Earth is going to affect the moon's light. This is how it will going to look like. So this is the complete total eclipsed out moon. The whole moon is inside the umbral region of the Earth's shadow, and this is how is it is going to look like from your location also. So because this will be visible across India, so whoever is living in India, they will be able to look at this phenomena very clearly. Hopefully the clouds don't disturb this beautiful celestial phenomena, right? So in which direction you have to look at? So whenever you go out to look, you can just look towards the south direction. So the moon will be tomorrow, the moon will be visible towards the south direction. So you can go out, look towards the south direction, locate the moon. And one of the more it's a cherry on the cake that Saturn is also visible right next to the moon during the eclipse only. So the photographs that you will take of the eclipsed out moon will be very beautiful, because the Saturn will be visible right next to it. The moon will be eclipsed out. It will be a total lunar eclipse. It will be red in color, and these astrophotography, it's a treat for the all the astrophotographers out there, right? So this is you can just take benefit of this celestial phenomena and go out and take very beautiful photos. So Richa is asking that how long is the eclipse going to last for? So I'll come to that also. So the eclipse, just again, so let's understand what are the safety procedures also for looking at the eclipse. So as we would all know that solar eclipse has to be dealt with a certain precaution, right? Because you should never look at the sun directly, and especially during the eclipsed time. But the lunar eclipse, as we now have understood, is just the shadow of Earth, right? So no safety precautions are required for watching the lunar eclipse. So you can very confidently go out, look at the eclipse, take beautiful photographs, and come back also. As to how and when we need to look at the moon to capture beautiful photographs, the eclipse is going to start at 8:58 p.m. and it will end at 2:25 a.m. So it's a long eclipse. Not just long, it's the longest eclipse. But you don't have to stay for the whole night over there. The red region, or the when the moon is coming in the umbral region of the earth shadow, that will start at 11 p.m. Okay, so you can go out at 11 p.m. to look at the moon, and then it will, it's going to start coming in the umbral region of the earth, and it will start to take that red glow, and it will last for about an more than an hour or so. So the total eclipse will end at 12:23 a.m. Right, so this is the region where you can go out, look at the eclipse, take beautiful photographs, send us also if you wish, upload it on social media, tag us, it will be fun, right? So the eclipse is going to, the official timing will be of 8:58 p.m. and it will go through various phases. First the partial eclipse will begin at 21:57, then the total eclipse will become will start at 11:01 p.m. Then the maximum eclipse will happen, the middle point of the umbral region, that will happen at 11:41 p.m. Then the eclipse will end at 12:23 a.m. Then the partial eclipse will also end at 1:26 a.m. and then that will also end at 2:35 a.m. Right, so this is going to be the longest lunar eclipse in recent time, right? So if you want to look at it, this is the time range in which you can go out, look at towards the south, look at the moon, and click click beautiful photographs. Right, so happy viewing the lunar eclipse. Tomorrow will be 7th September. So from 8:58 p.m. to 2:25 a.m. you can watch and enjoy this celestial treat, and get debunk the mythical stories also of about Rahu, Ketu, and whatever mythical stories about it, and explain this to all the people that what actually is happening out there, right? So yes, so happy viewing. And if you guys have any questions, then I'm happy to answer them. So do go out, look at the moon, click beautiful photographs, send it to us, tag the email IDs and the phone numbers are on the screen. You can scan the QR code to join, follow us on our social media platforms. And if you want, you can upload it to your own social media channels and then tag us also by showing that this is how the eclipse, how beautiful the eclipse look like tomorrow night. Okay, so yes, that was about the lunar eclipse. I hope now everyone is very clear about what the eclipse is about, how the geometry happens, and what's going to happen tomorrow. Okay, so let's see at some of the questions. So will the eclipse be possible if we had two moons? So yes, this is actually one of the things that when how eclipse happens on other planets. Do eclipse happen on other planets also? It does happen. So now we understand that the eclipse word just means that when the light is blocked or it comes inside the shadow. So even if there are two moons, even if there are 23 moons, it can block the light of the sun. So as soon as it will block the light of the sun, it will be solar eclipse. And as soon as that moon comes in the shadow of the planet, it will be lunar eclipse. Right. So Mars has two moons, right? Phobos and Deimos. So even Phobos and Deimos do make the lunar and solar eclipse happen, right? So yeah, interesting question. So do we have any other questions, sir?
No, sir, nothing as of now. You may just inform them once again the important time and when they can actually go out and look at the eclipse.
Yes, sure. So let's show again that what are the important times. Okay. Yes. So you guys, you can take a screenshot of this image also, that this is the official time of what the eclipse, what all the phases the eclipse will happen in. So the main part of the eclipse, which you all can enjoy taking photographs of also, will be between 11 p.m. to 12:23 a.m. Okay, so this will be the most interesting part of the eclipse, where the moon will turn into a red color. So this is what going to happen tomorrow. So happy viewing, enjoy the celestial treat, and all the best. Okay, so yeah, anything else, sir?
No, nothing else as of now, sir. You may conclude it. Thank you.
All right, all right. So everyone, bye and enjoy the celestial treat.